It has been way too long since we've had an update on the Porsche 924 Turbo project, but I'm finally back in Colorado and I'm getting back on it today. Hey everybody, welcome back to Auto Anatomy. I'm Sean. It has been a long time since we've had a Porsche 924 Turbo update, and I promise that I've not been neglecting you. Just with life and, working in South Carolina and living in Colorado and flying back and forth every week, I will be very honest, I've had zero time to work on the car. But I'm finally back in Colorado for a few days, and I really want to get back working on the Porsche project. So where we left off, car was running pretty good. Got the interior back together, or got the heater in it and got that all back together. But I noticed when we were out driving it that it's got like a lean surge at idle, and it feels just like it's got a vacuum leak. Now, if you know anything about these cars, they've got a ton of little vacuum elbows and vacuum lines, and they're really sensitive to vacuum leaks. Now, it's not as bad as the Thunderbird, but it's pretty bad. So I've replaced most of the vacuum hoses and lines on this car already. There is one I haven't replaced, and it's down on the passenger side by the turbo. It doesn't look like it's leaking, but there's really one best way to tell if you've got a vacuum leak, and that's with a smoke machine. So I picked up this thing on Amazon, and it was about 200 bucks, and I've never used one, but I've watched a lot of videos on them, and I understand the concept of how they work, so we're gonna try this out for the first time together. If you like the things that we're doing, there is one absolutely free way that you can support our channel. That's by hitting the subscribe button and clicking on that bell to be notified when new videos come out. That tells me that you like the things that we're doing, and it really helps me keep making these types of videos for you. One final thing before we get started on today's video. We've got a huge announcement coming up, but you're gonna have to wait until the very end of the video to find out. So make sure you watch the very end to hear the latest about what's gonna happen with the Auto Anatomy channel. Okay, here's our smoke detector. I did open it up and just kind of took it out of the box, but just wanted to show you what all was in here. Okay. So basically the way this works is you put like mineral oil in here, and it has got a built-in fan, and it blows smoke out at just a very, very low pressure. And what that does is you hook this hose up into the intake, and it'll fill the entire intake tract with a very, very low pressure smoke. And if there is a leak, you'll see just a tiny little trickle come out. So rather than having to, spray all the engine with like, brake clean or run around with a propane torch, unlit of course, this just really gives you an easy way to determine where your leak is coming from exactly. And if it doesn't have a vacuum leak, then I guess that's a good thing, because I can cross one thing off the list. So let's get this all assembled and figure out a way to best hook it up to the Porsche and see what we see. Okay, here is the oil fill port. And it says to use, mineral oil or baby oil or something like that. And I guess I'm one of those weird people that doesn't like the smell of baby oil. So I've got some mineral oil here. And it says to open the oil fill port, fill the smoke oil into the reservoir, note the oil level gauge. Make sure the oil level will not exceed 2 centimeters above the bottom of the gauge. So, if you can see, there's our min and max level. Probably isn't going to take a whole lot to fill this thing up. Like that. So apparently the motor starts spinning immediately. Yeah. So here we go. So we've turned it on now, and we just wait for smoke to come out. Let's go hook it up to the car and see what happens. I think to start, I'm just going to hook it up to the brake booster vent line or vacuum line. Since it doesn't have anything else going to it, it should fill up pretty much all of the system. Okay. All right. Fingers crossed, let's see what happens. Okay, so we've got the smoke machine running. So far, I'm not seeing anything. Well, that's unhooked. This is really good news. No vacuum leaks so far. I think I may have spoken too soon. I see a little trickle of smoke coming back from right back there. Looks like maybe a clamp here. Or that, nope, that's loose. And no more smoke there. That wasn't a big one though. The one vacuum elbow that I didn't replace is right down there, and you're probably not going to be able to see it, but it's at the base of the turbo, right between the turbo and the block. The good news is it doesn't look like it's leaking. So as much as I was hoping to find like a really big vacuum leak, it's also really encouraging that I didn't find one. So that means that all of the vacuum leaks have been eliminated in the car, and we can move on to, you know, other sources of a lean surge, which on this car is probably due to the fuel system. Now, the one thing that I didn't change on this car was the fuel filter, because the guy that I got it from had just changed it. But since I've been driving it for a while, it's probably worth going ahead and changing again and seeing if that helps any. Okay, got the new fuel filter in place. Went down to my local O'Reilly's and they actually had one in stock, which I was really surprised about. But when I took it apart, I took it off, the old filter here poured what looked like Mississippi River water out of it. So I've cut it open here and I have not looked at it yet. So let's see what this, see if I can do this one-handed kind of, what this looks like. Oh. That may be the reason why it wasn't running well. Yeah. So I think that fuel filter is pretty much done for. And since I was in the process of doing like a tune-up on it anyway, I went ahead and put a new air filter in the car and new spark plugs and wires. So it should be ready to roll. I don't know. Let's crank it up and see what happens. This is an absolute cold start, by the way. I haven't cranked this thing up in probably 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. Like I said, I haven't cranked this thing up in so long because I've been out of town. So I'm betting it's probably dead. No leaks. That's good. First impressions is the car actually drives a whole lot better, and you probably saw that I did change the exhaust out on it. So one of the things I was never really happy with on that exhaust was just how drony it was inside the car. It sounded really, really good, but even at just like cruise speeds, you couldn't hear yourself in the car. It was just so loud. So I picked up a muffler and an exhaust tip, and it still has that same tone, but it just doesn't drone nearly as much. I mean, I can actually hear myself think in the car. So next big steps for the Porsche. I have purchased and actually received the carpet for the car. I picked it up out of a company out of the UK called Coverdale, and they were able to make it in the exact color that I needed, the champagne interior, which is a pretty rare option from what I'm told for a 1980 model car. I've also already ordered the seats from Only 944, and I've got new, plaid here for the door panels. So we'll get that done here in the next couple of videos. The Mustang, our Project Code Blue Mustang, is up for sale. And the really big news, and what I wanted you to stick around for till the end here, is that we've been traveling back and forth between South Carolina and Colorado Springs since about August or September for work. And I was offered a full-time position in South Carolina and have accepted. So Auto Anatomy is going to be packing up and moving east. We're going to be headed to Greenville, South Carolina, and we are really excited about it. One, because it's going to be just a great opportunity for us, my wife and I personally, but two, that we're going to be really, really close to a couple of YouTubers that I've become friends with. One is Michael over at Budget Builds, and I'll put links to his channel up in the description. And his place is only about 5 minutes away from where I work. So that's going to be awesome to work with Michael a little bit more and hopefully collaborate on some projects. And another YouTuber that we're going to be a lot closer to is Griff Parker from the Griff Parker YouTube channel. And you know him from getting all of the fair lanes back up and running. So Michael from Budget Builds is about 5 minutes away. Griff's only a few hours away. And I'm really looking forward to getting started working with some other YouTubers and collaborating on some new projects. The 924 Turbo will be up for sale hopefully within a month or two. It really depends on the time frame for getting the seats. I've ordered them and hopefully they'll be here soon. So in the next video, we're going to take the interior back out of the car again and start putting in the new Coverdale carpet. And then the video after that, hopefully we'll have the seat redo. And then there's nothing really left to do on the Porsche except send it on to its next owner and hope that they love it as much as I do. Listen, thank y'all all so much for watching and being patient with us. This past year has been a challenge for everyone, and I just can't say thank you enough to the Auto Anatomy family for just how much love and support you've shown for our channel over this last year. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on the bell to be notified when new videos come out. We love you guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Take care.